Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Wednesday, June 4th. Celtics offseason still before the finals. The finals are today, or they start today as you're listening to this. We talked about that last time. Pacers versus Thunder kicks off later today, but we're still living in a world of Celtics rumors and trade talks and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. Good morning to you. We usually don't see each other this early, but we have a good show on the way regardless. Got some new Celtics intel. We'll go through that. We've learned that it sounds like at least one of these guys is safe. Go through your emails. We'll go and talk about Tibbs. I guess we can't really tease Tibbs. Everybody knows Tibbs was fired. And then we have more intel from some other teams around the NBA, and we'll do the rat list and get up out of here. Make sure you guys stick around through all of it. It's going to be a good show. Going to be a good summer. We'll be here every single day covering everything going on with the Celtics. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. We have other videos on the days in between, draft previews, email reads, trade rumors, whatever it may be. So subscribe for all of it. Leave a like on this video and comment. Tell us what you think of the latest rumors.
Yes, let's start with Michael Scotto, who kind of ran the whole show today for us. Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype reported that Derrick White, and this is a quote now, quote from Michael Scotto, I should say, he wrote this. Derrick White, who turns 31 in July, has always drawn interest from teams around the league. However, Boston has rebuffed previous inquiries to this point. He's still young enough to potentially be a difference maker during the 26-27 season, when Tatum should be fully healthy. Basically saying they're not trading Derrick White. We kind of knew this, although there was no clear report that said, hey, they're not going to trade him. This is the clearest evidence since the Jake Fisher report months ago that is saying, hey, they're probably not going to trade Derrick White. So they're probably not going to trade Derrick White, which we kind of knew and we kind of assumed, but it's a good thing to have it out there by somebody who actually covers the NBA at large.
Yeah, pretty reputable source. We've had Scotto reporting for years, and we always cite him. So Derrick White not being dangled in trade offers makes a lot of sense. I think coming into the offseason, everybody within this space speculated it would be Porzingis, it would be Holiday. We all kind of figured White would not be in the fold, mostly because his contract is really good for what he's worth as a player. And he's also very close with Tatum, so it would be kind of a head scratcher to get rid of one of Tatum's closest friends on the team and trade him away this summer when you have other options to do so. It just doesn't make any sense. But it's good that they are refuting trade inquiries because we did talk about it. We knew the Warriors might be interested in him. We had talked about the possibility of some team just pulling up on the block with 5 first-round picks and being like, what do you think? And neither one of us, I was more of in the camp of, I don't know, maybe. You have to at least think about it at that point. But it sounds like as of now, they're not that interested. Good stuff, Celtics. Brad Stevens, we always trust him.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's like what I always say when we talk about this. Tatum's not gone forever, right? Theoretically, or the most likely scenario is he's back for the 26-27 season, and then you still have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derrick White, and that is very clearly good enough to compete for a championship, and Peyton Pritchard, right? That what is foursome, I guess, is that what we say? I was quad, whatever. That group of 4 players is good enough to win a championship.
The quartet.
Yeah, that quartet, sure, is good enough to win a championship in the NBA. We saw it a couple years ago, especially in this Eastern Conference, which is shaping up to maybe be even easier if Giannis ends up getting traded to a Western Conference team. Right?
Or here.
Or sure. But if you have Jaylen, Jason, Derrick White, and Peyton Pritchard, you should be good enough to win a championship. So trading one of those guys because Tatum is hurt for a season never really made sense, at least to me. And it sounds like the Celtics don't plan on trading Derrick White, which is a good thing. Derrick White's too good of a player, man. I think he was a fringe all-star 2 years ago. He's been all defense a couple times. He wasn't all defense this year, which I think was kind of a
weird.
snub. But there were a lot of good defenders this year, so it is what it is. But he has a chance to take on a larger role this year, to improve as a player, to improve as a primary ball handler. He's probably going to be the second scoring option on this team behind Jaylen Brown. Him and Peyton Pritchard, are going to split that a little bit down the middle. And so you could, be looking at a world where he averages 18 to 20 points and 7 assists, 6 to 7 assists, and 5 rebounds and a block and a half. Like he's going to play more minutes. And Peyton Pritchard could average 20 points, I think, pretty easily. So you look at the opportunities these guys are going to get this season, and not only is not trading them not smart move for the future of competing for championships when Tatum is healthy, but they're also going to have a chance to improve internally this season with the Celtics, right? Like you're also going to get a chance to get a better look at them. And if you look at Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard, but since we're talking about Derrick White, we can stick to that. Phenomenal contract. Like it's not like he's on an overpay and you're like, maybe like there's no financial incentive to trade him either because he is on a great contract that is very easy to build around when you have him, Tatum and Brown as well. Like you need guys like that who are better than their contract, right? And it's hard to find guys around the league who are on good $30 million contracts, right? Like that is a sometimes not a phrase you can utter. Derrick White is going to make $28.1 million next year, and he is underpaid. Like that is how good Derrick White is, and that is the current state of the CBA, right? He's going to make 28.1, 30.3, 32.6, and then 34.8, and he might not even accept that player option because he's so good. But at that point, he's going to be in his age, 31, 32, 33, 34 seasons, so he might end up taking that money. But listen, like, he's on a phenomenal contract for the way he plays, and you don't trade guys like that, especially when you're looking to win championships, and that guy is going to be probably the third best player on your championship team.
Yeah, that contract is just going to set you up to be successful. Like with everything, all the restrictions now with the overspending, being able to maximize value for somebody like Derrick White is so essential to building a contender. Even like looking at what New York has done, right? Like New York has Jalen Brunson on the discount contract, and for next year, Mikal Bridges is still on a discounted contract. So the reason why they can have 4 or 5 guys, if you want to count Josh Hart in this, who are pretty high-level players who can contribute to winning, is because they have lined up the contracts really well, so they aren't really getting restricted by the second apron. Like they are not a second apron team right now; they're a first apron team. And the Celtics are trying to get like that this summer. They are trying to get underneath the second apron. If the Celtics are in the second apron next year, the year after, or the year after that, they will have a future first-round pick fall to the end of the first round. I used to think it was the immediate first-round pick, but you would right, it is not. It is the one 7 years out that automatically becomes number 30, which sucks. You don't want that. You're already dealing with enough handicaps, restrictions. Now that you have violated it just in general, you don't need the repeater penalties. That's too much to deal with. Getting rid of a Porzingis and or a Holiday or Hauser, who were all mentioned in the Scotta reporting today, as we all have speculated. We knew Porzingis, we knew Holiday. We talked about the teams that are interested in Holiday. Hauser being a name to watch has been something we've speculated on, but I think this is also the first like Hauser reporting that he might be on the outs, but the reporting feels more like speculation in this case, so I think we're all on the same page with that. Derrick White should not be a cost-cutting move. There is no reason to do that. I don't really know if you'll ever get the value back by giving him away that you would get by keeping him. It just doesn't make sense for what you're trying to do. You mentioned Tatum coming back. If Tatum's coming back, you want the most ready pieces there to help him. And if you are able to weave in young talent, that's great, but you don't want to just have it be young talent when he comes back. He needs supporting castmates. He has to be able to have help.
Yeah, I never subscribed to it felt like a generalized feeling that the Celtics were never going to win a championship again. Like just because this core is over doesn't mean they can't compete for a title in 2 years, right? Like it's not going to look the same, but they're still going to have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derrick White, and that's good enough in my opinion. And yeah, like you mentioned, Michael Scotto in his article also noted that Porzingis is most likely to be traded. Holiday is also probably going to get moved or is likely to get moved, and mentioned the Mavs and Clippers names we already do. And then Hauser, like you said, was brought up as I'll read the quote here. Another trade candidate to keep an eye on in the eyes of NBA execs around the league is sharpshooter Sam Hauser, a career 42% shooter from beyond the arc, has been a consistent rotation player for Boston the past 3 seasons. Noted that Boston drafted Shireman 30th overall. Some NBA talent evaluators pointed to him as an eventual possible replacement for Hauser after he shot 39% beyond the arc in collegiate seasons. While Shireman could potentially be asked to step up more, Boston will need Peyton Pritchard to take an even bigger leap next season, fresh off a 6-man-a-year campaign at the Celtics, going to be a contender without their top player. So basically just saying, like, Sam Hauser could be moved because they have guys who they think can contribute in a similar role in terms of shooting the ball. I still am up and down on whether or not they should trade Hauser. I understand it's like they could get pretty good value for him right now. He's also on a really good contract, and you need really good contract players when you want to compete for a championship. So I hesitate to do that. Similar in the same vein as like Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard. But I get it. I do. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it does sound like, as we've known all season, Porzingis and Holiday are probably going to be gone.
We just got to sit here and wait and look at the fake trades and be like, oh, what can they get back? And I still think like there should be a goal if you're the Celtics to do more than just cut the salary. Like you want to get something in return for Porzingis and Holiday, who can be, at least the argument could be made that they are both assets that a team should want to be taking back, or there is some upside to taking these guys back this summer. It's not perfect. Porzingis has question marks about his health. Holiday's contract isn't great. But in the short term, if you're a team that thinks that they can be catapulted to championship contention status by making a move like this, that is your market. And for Holiday, it's been Dallas, it's been the Clippers. And the Clippers fit more in that category than Dallas does, because Dallas is in that weird middle ground where Kyrie's hurt and Davis, who knows how healthy he's going to be, and is Cooper Flag going to be ready to be immediately having all this responsibility on his shoulders in the NBA. Those are all questions yet to be answered. Doesn't mean that they can't be competitive this year. They probably will be. But yeah, you really want to get something back.
Yeah. Well, like you said, we can't really do anything but sit here and wait and see what happens. So that's what we'll do. In the meantime, let's check in on y'all's emails. Reminders, always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have a few today. Let's check them out and see what y'all got. So first email we have is from Michael Hilly, another Drew trade. He says, hey guys, just another guy here with stupid trades. This shit is addicting. I thought this would be amazing value for everyone involved here. Kings have a $16+ million TPE that fits perfectly, and they get a solid offensive piece in Bogey for the simple price of a second-round pick. Clippers get Drew Holiday for pretty much salary in Bogey, Derrick Jones in a first. I do think Drew could be worth this much to Ballmer, considering the history of how bad they have wanted him. Celtics clear a shit ton of cap space, get a decent role player in Derrick Jones Jr., a probable two-way spot. I don't see Norris coming back, and a late first. Overpay from the Clippers. I guess remove the first, but I truly think it's possible to get the Clippers to cough up that, depending on how desperate they are. Let me know what you think. This is the trade. Let me open a new tab so we can see the full thing. Celtics get Derrick Jones, pick 30 and a second. Clippers get Drew Holiday. Kings get Bogdanovich. I don't hate it. We'll talk about it later. I don't know what direction the Kings are going in. I don't know if they're going to want to tear things down or they're going to want to compete right now. But if they're not going to try to compete next year, I don't think they do this. I think this will solely depend on if the Kings want to be competitive next season.
I think the only way they do this is if they're getting draft picks. Like, you could convince them to take on salary to get draft picks. But yeah, the Kings are really, well, quite literally Bulls West, where it's just like, what is going on here? And it's even worse for them because the Western Conference is so competitive, so deep. Giannis might be there next year. The top 2 picks in the draft will be there next year. Like, it's only going to get more competitive. Like, it's crazy to think that Sacramento's window, my goodness, I can't speak this morning. Sacramento's window was only like 1 year. That 1 year when they were the 3 seed, that was it. Like, that was the end of all the playoff fun for the Sacramento Kings. That was the end. Derrick Jones Jr. would be an interesting piece. I think the Celtics could use, specifically next year, somebody of his mold. I'm sorry, I just had a friend message our group chat, and he just goes, Tibbs fired, as if it's breaking news. It is 10:12 a.m. on Wednesday. But Derrick Jones Jr. could fill a significant chunk of minutes that would be in the Tatum slot. Similar size, not as muscular, but he would be a stretch-ish for who's meant to defend and play defense. The Celtics might need that next year, especially if they're trying to be competitive and stay afloat in the East.
Yeah, my other thing is, like, I get why it makes sense because the Kings have a TPE, but just because the money goes into a TPE doesn't mean it doesn't count towards the tax and everything. Like, it's still on their books, right? Like, it still counts towards the aprons. It still counts towards all of that. They can take it on, but they still have to pay the CBA penalties that come with if they will be a second apron or whatever apron team after that. And if you're not competing for a championship, you probably don't want to go. I don't know if this would put the Kings in the first or second apron or whatever, or where it would leave them. But if you're not competing for a championship, you probably don't want to take on $16 million for a guy who I fear Bogdanovich is entering the last few seasons of his career where his efficiency falls off a cliff and he is questionable, right? So it's like a coin flip if you get 40% shooting Bogdanovich or shooting 31% from the field. Again, I don't know if that's worth the money for a team like the Kings. Before we continue, I need to tell you guys about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action this summer, this baseball season, as you're checking out the Red Sox, who are not in the best place, but they're trying their best. They won yesterday, and maybe they'll continue to try their best. But Sam and I do the PrizePicks every single pregame show during the season. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 2,000x your cash. For basketball, that can be points, that can be rebounds, assists, three-pointers, anything you can think of. For baseball, runs, RBIs, home runs, anything you got there. Make sure to check it out on PrizePicks. You can even mix and match player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite basketball players from baseball players to hockey players to esports if that's what you want. Anything like that. Sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And then with the basketball playoffs wrapping up, but the action is still heating up. The best place to cash in on your favorite sports as you check out the finals over there. With basketball going on. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
No. I feel like the new CBA, like with all its restrictions, like let's see, they made the new one in 2023, so another update will be 2029. I think it's every 6 years. There should be updates to like make things like TPEs valuable again within this construct, because I wouldn't want.
They're valuable,
but like with the way that this is putting a boa constrictor hold on teams, like, is it really that much of a leg up to be able to spend more money when if you spend more money you're just going to get punished? Like, I don't know.
Well, it is for like if the Celtics had a TPE last year, right? Like they could have used it and maybe would have used it. If like the Clippers have a TP, they have Steve Ballmer and they'll use it. If a team is like actively competing for a championship, it's useful, or they are under the first apron and would have a room, they don't actually have money to spend, but they have a TPE and that wouldn't put them over the second apron, then like, why not? Right. Like if you're willing to pay the luxury taxes, sure. If it won't take you over the apron, like there is wiggle room there. Like I do think TPEs are still useful. Like the Hawks have a bunch of TPEs this year and you could take money in TPEs and get draft picks. Like they could get you draft picks to take on salaries. So I do think TPEs are still useful. It's just not the free for all it once was, because there's penalties that come with spending more money now. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Next one we got is, I think from you again, right? Did Michael send us another one? Yeah, Michael says another Drew trade, but 4 teams. Jesus.
Oh, no.
This is a variation of the previous trade I sent you guys, still based on the Celtics trading Drew to the Clippers. Here the Kings go for more defense, getting Keldon Johnson and Sochan. They do a mock trade. Maybe you add in the first to make it worth for the Spurs. They would likely make Carter their starting point guard, or they'd be relying on Levine, DeRozan, and Sabonis to initiate without Monk. Big if there. They also have no first to replace them. Spurs get some needed offense in both Monk and Bogdanovich, who would spice up their bench. I think they can make up for the loss of Sochan and Johnson in the draft. I still might vouch to get a first. They make up for the value they gave up, but you be the judge there. Celtics have to go get a Champagny up. Celtics have to get Champagny on the roster to make it work. Good value for them, as he's likely a rental on an expiring contract. Clippers get Drew for Bogdanovich, DJJ, and a first, the best player in the trade. Less likely than the first trade, but still fun. What do y'all think? I think you forgot to attach the trade. There is no screenshot here. I don't think the Spurs are going to trade for another guard in Malik Monk when they already have Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and are going to draft Dylan Harper. So I don't know about that.
What he was saying when he said the Champagny part is like, to make the trade work, they do have to take him back, but taking him back is a positive thing. So they get to take him back.
Yeah,
in his opinion.
I also don't think the Spurs are going to be itching to give up Champagny, who's a 82-game player who is getting paid $1 million. So I don't know if they'll give him up either. I like the other trade more than this one. I just don't think the Spurs are going to want to shake it up like that.
When you said he was getting paid $1 million, my brain is set to make that a hyperbolic statement for this guy gets paid a lot of money, but it's hilarious that in the NBA it quite means the opposite.
Yeah, no, he makes no money. Yeah, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Justin Champagnie is way too much for Malik Monk, especially when they don't really need another guard. Like they'd be giving up, I think, the only power forwards on their roster. I don't think they would have a power forward on their roster after that trade, right? I'm trying to think who would start at Harrison Barnes. It would be Harrison Barnes and nothing else would be their fours. So I just don't think that makes sense positionally for the Spurs. But.
It's until they trade for Porzingis.
Yeah. Oh, Monk and Bogdanovich. Sorry, they'd be getting 2 guards instead of 1. But yeah, I like your first one more than this. Next, RJ says, latest Giannis to Toronto rumor makes sad sense. Even folks are starting to rumor that Giannis being interested in Toronto and vice versa. I can see it. I can't imagine what living in the U.S. right now must be like for a foreign-born player, especially for a foreign-born black man. Giannis wants to stay in the league and ply his trade against the best the world has to offer. Going to Toronto would let him do that and sidestep the day-to-day challenges of residing in Trump's America. Hope I'm wrong, but I can't discount it either. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I can understand it from that perspective. I can understand it from like a roster building perspective too. Like the Raptors have an okay roster, even post Giannis trade probably. So I think it makes sense, and he'd get to live in Canada.
Don't they all technically still work in the U.S. though, because the NBA technically cuts the checks?
Maybe, but you don't have to live in the U.S. So
correct.
You get to leave. Thank you, RJ. Next. Not pod necessary, but just thoughts and ideas tinkering. Well, you're on the pod anyways. How about
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you, Michael. I found a framework that functions with a lot of players we could target. Trades have often been 1-to-1 on the third team for something simple to make things work. However, with new CBA rules, we may see more teams incentivized to work together to make their blockbuster deals. Getting involved with the Lakers and Nets can give us everything we need while everyone wins, no matter who is involved. Let's look past some of the saltiness of trading with the Lakers and dive in. I'm not the greatest at weighing draft capital, but I tried. Celtics goals: shed major salary, replace Tatum minutes for next year, and trade up in the draft to retool for the next Jays window. Lakers goals: immediate championship talent, find a big, shed some expiring contracts, spend less money or spend less than the rescinded Mark Williams trade. Nets goals: continue hoarding for the future, continue hoarding picks for a blockbuster trade. Here's a reasonable version of the framework without picks. And in this one, the Lakers, oh my gosh. Okay, wait. No, okay. I need to reset. There's a lot more here than I thought there was. All right. Okay, he said it's not pod necessary, so maybe we look at this off and come back to it. I don't know if you're looking at the screen right now, Sam, but
I did see the monstrosity, like just the black square
okay.
attached trades.
So, Lakers would get Drew Holiday, Nick Claxton, and give up Vincent, Connect, Rui, and Reeves. I don't think they would give up Reeves for that. Although I understand why. There would need to be a lot of picks going to the Nets. Lakers keep Reeves. This they might do. Rui and Connect, Vanderbilt and Vincent. You'd have to give the Nets a ton of draft capital. But I don't hate it. I don't hate this at all, actually. If the Nets get all the draft capital, I think that could work. Boston moving up in the draft to 19 would be here. Here's the draft picks. Yes. The Lakers should be giving up way more picks in this. I mean, they're giving up one rotation piece and an unproven rookie and 3 guys who never play for Drew Holiday and Nick Claxton. The Celtics should not have to give up all these first. In my opinion, I think the Lakers should give up the first. Although this isn't a bad deal either for the Celtics, I will say.
Yeah, the Lakers should definitely be giving up draft picks. This solves all their issues. This is a great trade for the Lakers. They make out like bandits. They give up a bunch of guys that, well, I guess Rui was like a real player for them, but like Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Maxey were all just like.
He's also on an expiring though. Yeah. This also isn't as bad as it looks for the Celtics. They'd give up both their picks this year and a future first, but they'd move up to 19. So they'd be only give up one future first, which isn't the end of the world when they're getting connected. So that's not bad either. Best case scenario for Boston: gets Reeves, trades up to 8. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I don't think the Nets are going to go out their 8th pick. And I don't think the Lakers are going to go out Reeves, but that would be a best case scenario.
Maybe if you ask them, they will.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not gonna read the blurbs. I'm just gonna look at this. So this one would bring the Mavericks in to get Drew Holiday and connect. Celtics would get Gafford and PJ Washington. Lakers would get Claxton and Powell. Lakers would give up Connect, Vincent, and a future first for Claxton. I don't think that's terrible. Celtics moved. I don't think the Nets are going to give up the 8th pick, although they get 3 future firsts, which is crazy. But I don't think they'd give up the 8th pick. They need a young player right now. But I don't hate it for the Celtics. I'll take the 8th pick. Best case scenario, 8th pick still going to Boston. I still don't see it. Kessler and Sexton drawn in. Celtics get it's still 8. That 8th pick, if you take it out, maybe, but I just don't think they're going to give it up. I do like a lot of these trade options, though. I will say
Kessler and Sexton are really good trade pieces to think about. Like for us to sit here and be like, what if they got those guys? Because Utah has rumored interest in Porzingis, even though in these deals he's not going there. In the past, we've heard about how much they wanted him in 2023. If they decide that they would like to add him to the roster next season, maybe those 2 guys are part of a deal. The problem comes that you have to extend Kessler, and then he's not making that $4 million contract anymore next year.
That's the thing. That's my issue with the Kessler trade is you're going to have to pay Kessler, and it's probably going to be too much. Like, it's not too much in terms of like the Celtics couldn't afford it, but probably overpaid for what he brings to the table. Like, not to be rude to Walker Kessler, I think he's a really good player. He's a glorified Luke Cornett that's probably going to want like $20+ million. He's going to want more than Cornett, which I'm like, I don't know if that's worth it. Like, you can find
what if
Cornett
you can trade him
a lot of money.
What if you can trade him mid-season?
For what?
I don't know. What if he balls out? What if he's nasty?
For what though? Like a
picks,
first?
maybe?
I don't know. I guess it's fine. I'd rather just shed the money. I don't know. That's a big if. Okay, Clippers get in. I don't think Clippers are trading Zubac in this trade.
I don't think so.
Wasn't
Zubac like borderline All NBA?
Yes. Another. Okay, Sabonis. So
I don't really know how much that does for me.
Celtics we get Sabonis and pick 8. They'd trade. Okay, the Lakers get Drew and Claxton still. The Kings get a lot of stuff. I still don't think the Celtics are getting 8 from the Nets. I just don't think there's any world the Nets give up 8. I don't love Sabonis as a fit for the Celtics. I mean, I guess in theory he could just be a supercharged Cornet, like the best Cornet you could possibly imagine. But he's just not a good enough defender, in my opinion, to make that work. I don't hate it. I'm a big Sabonis fan. I think more than consensus. I just don't think the fit makes a ton of sense with the Celtics. Like Sabonis is just, in my opinion, like a Jokic light, a Şengün light, who's just not quite as good as those guys defensively.
I agree with that. I'm not a big Sabonis guy myself. How much salary does this shed? I can't see it. It's too small on my screen, and I have
22 million.
He makes a lot of money for like the next 3 years, so that's the problem.
He does. 22
Give
million
me
is
the
also
pick
not
anytime
enough.
I can get it.
It's not enough. 22 million is not enough in a trade like this. You need shit more. Yeah, Sabonis is going to make 43.6 next year, then 46.7, then 49.9.
I mean, you want to complain about contracts? You look no further than that Sabonis contract. Good luck.
I don't think it's a bad contract if you put him in the right situation. It's just that situation is not Boston.
What is the right situation
in
today's NBA?
It would have to be a very high level guard and then elite role players around him, a la Jamal Murray, Jalen Green. Like it would just build the same situation as Jokic or Houston or Şengün with a better primary guard because he is not as good as the other 2 big men.
I feel like a good Sabonis like situation would have to be a team that has a bunch of players on their rookie scale deals still. So like that
maybe
40 whatever million doesn't hinder you from being able to put supporting cast members on the team.
Well, I think he could be the second or third best player on the title team. It just has to be the right team. Like they have to have an elite guard, and I just don't know what to, like. I don't think this is going to happen because I think they're going to play differently. I think if you put him next to Cade, he'd be really fucking good, right? You put him next to a high level shot creating guard, right? Like I think he'd be awesome because he can rebound, he can play make, and take some of the pressure off Cade that way. And I don't know. It's definitely hard, but I don't think it's like a disaster. Some Giannis trade frameworks as well. Nets would take on the Dame contract. The Bucks should be paying them every draft thing they own. This would gut the Celtics draft cabinet. I guess that's the price to pay for.
That is the Giannis
Actually,
package.
no. Most of those are seconds. Most of those are seconds, not first. Never mind. This is Jalen and Kristaps and Claxton and Cam Johnson to the Bucks. And first, you'd honestly probably have to give the Bucks more first in this trade, and then the Nets, Dame.
That's not
Lakers
like the worst. That's not the worst trade I've ever seen. The Giannis Dame, this one.
Why? What do you mean? I mean,
Because
the Bucks aren't getting enough picks.
But the Bucks are getting enough players to compete now, or to be like afloat now.
If I'm the Bucks, if I'm trading Giannis, I need draft picks. If I say take the players out of it, if I don't care the context. If I told you tomorrow Giannis just got traded in a deal that includes 2 first-round picks, I don't care what players are involved. I don't care it's Jalen and Porzingis and then 2 solid role players, like 2 first-round picks for Giannis.
How much salary does Milwaukee shed in this?
They gain $21.5 million in salary.
Okay, well that's not the best. But they get off the Dame contract, which I think is also like underrated. Like getting off the Dame contract right now is probably worth a first or 2 right now.
They would still not own their draft capitals from 28. They would have no draft capital 28, 29, 30, 31 after this trade.
That's still not a good thing. There's no getting around it. That's not a good thing. Not having to pay a 36-plus-year-old guard who just tore his Achilles $60+ million is a very good thing.
Sure. I don't care. If I'm trading Giannis, I need all the picks. All the picks. I don't care who else is coming in the trade. I need all the picks, and if you can't offer me that, goodbye. That just has to be the way they go about it.
This isn't bad.
What does this do for you? What is the ceiling of this team?
Whatever you think the Celtics ceiling next year is, it's what that is for Milwaukee. Jalen is your best player. You roll the dice on getting a healthy Porzingis, which may not happen. Claxton, sure. This with Giannis, yeah.
No. I'm saying the current Celtics before this trade are better than the Bucks that are formed with this.
I mean, a lot is said about Cam Johnson, like he's this super role player. So you have that. You have Nick Claxton, who's a good role player himself. You have Jalen and Kristaps. It's not the worst team ever.
All right. We can agree to disagree because we're not going to go anywhere. We're just going to talk about this for 20 minutes. Next trade, Lakers still get Drew Holiday. Jesus. Okay, yeah. Okay. Giannis trades. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Who is this, Michael? A different Michael? Thank you, Michael, for these trades. We appreciate you very much. I do like some of these for what it's worth. Like there was this one I like a lot. You shed $41 million. You get Rui and Connect. Lakers get Holiday and Claxton, which I get. The Nets get Kristaps, Vanderbilt, Vincent, Kleber. Obviously they're going to need picks, but I like this framework a lot. I think it works for all the teams involved if the Nets get the sufficient number of picks to make it happen. Then again, the Nets gaining actually, I don't know. This would be a lot of salary on the Nets books. You might need to spread that out or something because that is aggressive. That is the Nets taking all of their cap space and then some. So we'll see. But I like the concept.
I can't see all of the deals. I know Porzingis expires. It looks like Maxey expires.
They're all expiring except for Vanderbilt. But still, you erase you erase any flexibility the Nets had. So it would have to be well worth it for them, is all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
All right, next. We've got Philip, who says, offensive strategy evolving. Fellas, I really appreciate you guys can produce an off-season pod that isn't just a rumor mill. Your off-season content.
Well.
Got me subscribed 2 years ago. Yeah. On to my question. When the Celtics won the championship last season, it seemed to me that the offensive strategy of mismatch hunting, a.k.a. seals hunting, was a big part of our success, especially with JT, JB, and KP. Every playoff series saw them exploit particular defenders after you saw several teams in the offseason adjusting to this by removing defensive weaknesses from the rosters, even aggressively so with teams like the Mavs. Yep. Now the finals this season will be between two teams that rarely employ mismatch hunting, but instead focus on movement and ball handling, space and pace. As I hear it called first, do you think this is an evolution in offensive strategy? Is seal hunting becoming less effective? Do you think the Celtics should consider adjusting their offense to rely less on mismatch hunting and be in favor of space and pace? And if you think the Celtics should make an adjustment to the offensive strategy, do you think there's a need to adjust the roster or current coaching staff? No, I'm not suggesting fire Joe. All the best, Phil. I still think the Celtic strategy can work. I just think this is just what happened to work this year, and based on the personnel that these teams played. Honestly, I think year to year, any strategy can work, because you even looked like 2 years ago in the Nuggets one, it was just pick and roll. Like, that wasn't mismatch hunting. It was just the best pick and roll you've ever seen. And Giannis was Giannis, and that was driving to the hoop and just using his brute force. The Celtics was seal hunting, and the Pacers and Thunder are passing the ball, whipping it around and running transition. Like, I think new styles just emerge every year. And I don't think that means the Celtics can't win anymore. I just think that is what happened to break through the mold this season.
Personally, seal hunting is not my favorite thing. I think they struggle at times when they do it. With that being said, it has worked for them. It would be silly to come up here and be like, they can't win doing that, because they did. They won, and they did a great job. And they did a great job of creating good looks. Even this season, when the looks didn't fall for them, they did a good job at creating good ones. With that being said, I think it would be smart to sprinkle in other strategies, like having pace and space be part of your team, having it be something you lean into when things aren't really going your way might be a bright idea. I've long been a proponent of they need to have something that's plan B. They have to have a plan B. This year, even though we went and looked at all the shots and they were mostly good shots, I think it would have been smart to have a plan B at times, and they just really didn't do that. But I don't think that is a fire Joe problem. I just think it might be a Joe, you should be a little more open-minded type thing.
I get it. They also missed every open shot they got. Like, I don't know. We talked about this a million times. We don't have to go down the rabbit hole again. Like, make your shots. Don't be the worst when you need to make your shots. I think that's probably why they lost. It is what it is. But thank you, Philip. Next email we got is from Sam Blanche. He says, offseason retool and shed. They say, hi, guys. Been doing some playing around in the trade machine. Here's what I've got to shed $20 million in retool. I'm not sure if they pull the trigger on 3, but everything else. Hauser to Rockets. Oh my gosh. Hauser to the Rockets for Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore. Shed 4 or 6 mil. Houston, Eason or Whitmore. Houston gets a shooter. Boston gets relief and potential young PF for Tatum. I don't think the Rockets give you Tari Eason. Maybe Cam Whitmore, but I don't even think they give you that. I think both of those guys are young.
I feel like I saw something yesterday that was like they're exploring it, or teams are interested in him, or he wants
Tari
a bigger
Eason?
role. No, Whitmore.
Oh, Cam Whitmore, maybe. Tari Eason, I don't think you could get in a trade. But
I think the Eason point is fair. I think he was a big piece for them last year. But Whitmore is a different story. They drafted him at 20. He was supposed to go in the top 5. He really hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity. With that being said, maybe next year on the Celtics there's an opening for that. But typically with Boston, there will not be a whole lot of minutes to go around.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Next. Drew to the Clips for Bogey. DJJ maybe pick 6 million. Clips go win now with Kawhi and Harden, and Boston gets younger, shooting and defense and salary relief. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think you shed enough in that though. Like you said, like 6 million. I think you need to shed more in a trade for Drew.
One of the trades we were sent earlier has like a split. It was one where Bogey goes to the Kings, Celtics get DJJ. Like it would have to be one of those. You can only take, and the same goes for any Mavericks trade. Like the Celtics cannot trade with the Mavericks and get both PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. They have to pick one, and the other one goes somewhere else. It just would not. It would defeat the entire purpose of what they're trying to do.
Yes, agree. And then trade 3, Kristaps and picks to the Grizzlies for Jaren Jackson. You shed 7 mil. Memphis small market, likely won't pay JJJ, blow it up and start again with the disjointed team. Celtics get center and Horford replacement. Not sure if this one works. I don't think the Grizzlies are giving you Triple J.
I think they like him.
Yeah, I don't think
it'd make a lot of sense for them to want to keep Jaren Jackson.
If the best case scenario happens in all these moves, you only shed $19 million. So
which is still not enough.
Yeah. So I just don't think it's unfortunately realistic.
The whole team's gone and they're still in the second apron.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Keep sending the emails. We appreciate you guys. Before we continue, I need to tell you about Gametime. It's the best place for all your ticketing needs. This baseball season, this basketball season, any season you've got going on, because Gametime is more than just sports. Concerts, comedy shows, theater, anything you can imagine. Make sure to check out Gametime for all your ticketing needs. Let me pull up gametime.co. That's gametime.co. to show you exactly what you can see. Also, check out the Gametime app so you can see all these great features. My favorite feature on Gametime always is and always will be the fact that you can see exactly what your seats are going to look like here at Fenway Park. If you want to go to this Red Sox game, you can take a look at this Fire Emblem seat, which is the cheapest deal they have in the stadium, and see exactly what you're going to see from your seat. On top of that, you can see zone deals here, which means you can pick the zone right here, get a cheaper price, and then get seated randomly in that zone. So you don't get to pick your seat, but you do get a good deal. On top of that, Gametime has the feature where you can toggle on and off hidden fees. So you don't get surprised with anything by the time you get to checkout. It's the best place for all your ticketing needs this sports season and anything past sports. Like I said, it's not just a sports ticketing app. Plus, Gametime Picks means curation makes it easier to find better value for tickets to, again, sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Yes.
Let's go to the NBA section here. Tom Thibodeau was fired by the Knicks yesterday as we're recording this. A couple days ago as you're listening to this. Shams broke the news. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, look at that. What are your thoughts, Sam, on Tibbs getting fired?
I think Tibbs got the shaft. I think it's so lame to blame the coaches when, I mean, let's call a spade. The Knicks overachieved this year. Like, it's not even like the Knicks lost in the first round. If the Knicks lost the first round, sure, you could be like, damn it, Tibbs, these guys were supposed to be better than this. Like, if you told me 3 months ago that the Knicks beat the Celtics in the playoffs, I mean, it kind of went the way it would have to go, but I would be so surprised. Like, I'd be like, holy shit, what happened? That is such a great, like, point on Tibbs' resume that he eliminated the Celtics team and did a great job of coaching in that series and then gets fired? The first conference finals in 25 years and you fire the guy? I know there's been, like, this weird discourse with Tibbs for a couple years now where it's been, like, hot seat Tibbs, plays the guys too much, and so on. But this just feels like really bad timing to fire the guy. Maybe they feel like they've hit their ceiling, but I still don't think that's on him. I think it's on the roster construction.
Yeah, I think it's on the roster. I don't think you fire a guy after he helped your franchise make their first conference finals in 25 years. I do understand the differences, right? Like, you look at all these pieces that came out, it was like, I mean, if Mikal Bridges, the guy who is willing to play every night, is saying, like, dude, let's maybe play the bench a little bit. Maybe you need to play the bench a little bit. Like, maybe you should play the bench a little bit. I also think, like, per Shams, he was like, they're looking for a coach who, you know, will rely on the bench and develop that and also work a little bit, you know, easier with the front office. Probably wasn't the easiest guy to work with. Like, I can picture from a certain standpoint. So maybe it was just if the Knicks didn't make the finals or whatever this year and there wasn't all these drama, like, Tibbs was always going to get fired almost. Like, this was almost the last run, barring if they magically figured it out with this roster. And just because they made the finals they made the Eastern Conference Finals doesn't change that, because, I mean, we can keep a spade here. They kind of got wiped. They kind of looked like shit in the conference finals. So it is what it is.
You can make the argument that they're a bounce away from going to a game 7.
Yeah, but they're also a couple bounces away from getting swept. Like, they're also like that goes both ways, and you got killed in most of the games, or a lot of the games. Like, I don't know. I get wanting a shakeup. I think it's lame because I don't think Tibbs is the biggest issue why they lost. I think they have two guys who are really shitty defenders, and they win a very one-dimensional way, which is we're going to get a bunch of offensive rebounds and grit our way to buckets in late game scenarios. And if they don't reach that, then they don't really win games. And they reached enough of those to make the conference finals this year. But if they didn't, then they didn't, right? Like, it is what it is. They're also two 20-point collapses away from not even being in that spot, right? So I think there's some nuance to it. I think it's lame that
we both just made the same argument on different sides.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you could make a million different arguments. They could be a finals team. Shit, man. The Thunder could have won the title 4 years ago, right? If they had just not sucked. Like, you can say any of this, right? That's not what happened. But I get why he was fired. I also think it's lame he got fired right now.
Yeah, I think the timing is just so weird. Like, maybe last year you do it. Last year I think was the time. Last year it actually felt like they underachieved. they got the path they wanted on the other side of the playoffs, where it was their 3 seed. They end up playing Indiana, and they lose to Indiana in the second round. It's just not the kind of outcome you were. I'm sorry, they were the 2nd seed last year. They were not the 3 seed. The Bucks were the 3 seed. The Pacers upset them in round 1, and instead of having to play Giannis, you get the Pacers, and then you lose to the Pacers last year in 7 games, Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. That feels like more of the time to be like, damn, Tibbs, kind of your fault. Instead, they go out there, rebuff the roster. The roster doesn't really gel together the way they would have hoped, and I don't really think from what the reporting was that we heard after the Knicks were eliminated that this was a Tibbs problem. You said it, there are just players on the roster that can't really defend, that in which the way the roster is built are required to be out there in order for the team to be successful.
Yeah, man. I think it's always lame in most situations to fire the coach, but at the same time, like, sometimes you just need a shakeup, right? Like, clearly this roster has something to it. Like, clearly there are talented players, and if the team wants to go in a different direction to get the most out of the bench, and maybe that trickles down and the guys aren't as tired in the playoffs, or maybe Brunson's not tired so he can focus more on defense, or I don't know, man. Who knows? Like, it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to shake something up in the NBA, and unfortunately for Tibbs, that was him after a great season, but it is what it is. Some more stuff from Michael Scotto's article. The Kings are a little bit of a mess. They don't know what they're doing. He wrote, looking ahead to the offseason, rival NBA execs are monitoring the trio of Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan with the belief that Sacramento will explore the possibility of trading at least one of those players this offseason before the trade deadline in February. Also mentioned they might be interested in Tyus Jones as they want to add more guard depth this summer, which makes sense because they traded De'Aaron Fox, but could see a Sabonis, LaVine, or DeRozan trade, which, sure, I guess.
DeRozan's really the only name like that from a Celtics perspective could be included in some sort of like 3-teamer. We've seen templates where it's like he goes to the Hawks. There have been ones that people pitch that he comes to the Celtics that is like the shot creator with Tatum out. Don't think that one makes a lot of sense, but there's a way that they could move salary around and have that be one of the pieces that helps it along. But yeah, you're right. The Kings just have no idea what they're doing. And at this point, it makes sense for them to try not to be good. There's just too many good teams to try and stay afloat while flipping mediocre pieces for other mediocre pieces. And that's what they're doing.
Listen, I wholly understand why they have done what they've done. Like, I get why they traded for LaVine. I get why they signed DeRozan. I understand all of it. You get to a point in a franchise where you're like, Jesus Christ, we just need to make the playoffs. We just need to be somewhat relevant. Like, for our fans, for us, just to get that experience to like do it. And they did it once. And so you want to keep trying. Like, you want to stay in that contention window. You want to try to win a playoff series. You want to get into the playoffs. They are unfortunately not good enough. And it sucks because I think the bonus is a good player. I think they have good pieces on the roster. They're just not good enough as a collective. They don't have good enough second and third options to make the playoffs. And they don't have a good enough first option because Sabonis should not be a first option, right? So I just don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. I think it is time for them to unfortunately enter a new dark age of Sacramento basketball. I don't know what that means for the rest of those guys. I don't know where you trade Sabonis because I don't know who wants Sabonis. Like, that's the hard part now. Like, I do think he could help, but I think you look around the league and there are no teams that don't have a center, right? Like, I think if you put Sabonis in the right situation, he can be useful, but there's not really one of those situations around the league right now, right? Like, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know where it could be. Like, maybe you want to run some weird lineups with one being Sabonis, but if I'm the Spurs, I'm staying away from that because, like, I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. I don't know who wants Zach LaVine at this point. I don't know who has the money to take him on for his value. I think he's a good player. It's just he makes too much money. And then shit, man, I don't want DeRozan. I don't know who wants DeRozan either. Like, they just have 3 guys who almost nobody should want.
It just comes down to the money. The money is running everything right now. And it's gonna I don't know what's gonna happen with some of these players that are on these contracts because who wants them is the exact right question. There's no team that can convince itself that they are going to be a better team by trading for one of them because they are going to have to find a way to match that salary. It's going to require them giving up players who are already on their team who are probably contributing to whatever winning that team is doing, and it's just going to be a lateral move. As far as Sacramento going back to the dark ages, I wouldn't even say they escaped the dark ages. I feel like what they had was like in the winter in Alaska when the sun doesn't come up, and it's like maybe the first day you see the sun for a minute. That's what happened to them. And then it's all of a sudden the next day and the sun is down for the entire day again. Their window was so unbelievably short. I think they kind of got screwed by the CBA, and being a small market team, they had no choice but to pay Sabonis. They had no choice but to pay De'Aaron Fox. Or did they not pay him yet and then they traded him? That was part of the trade.
I'm not sure. I think they did. I don't know.
Regardless, if they'd kept him, they would have had to pay him because there was no other way he would stay in Sacramento. That's the kind of story that these franchises have to deal with because nobody wants to go play for them.
Yet.
They hadn't paid him yet. Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think, yeah.
But there's no other way that you could keep somewhat high-end talent around other than by opening the checkbook if you're them.
Yeah. It's tough, man. They're in a rough spot. Speaking of rough spot, the Timberwolves are also in a rough spot, as per Michael Scotto. He noted that re-signing Naz Reid is a priority, but having to pay Randall and Reid has many teams across the league with the non-taxpayer MLE interested in Nickeil Alexander-Walker, including the Orlando Magic, who made a run at trying to get him before the deadline. Execs around the league believe that the Timberwolves won't be able to keep the trio of Randall, Reid, and Walker. Timberwolves in a weird spot because they don't really have a go-to second option next to Anthony Edwards. Like, Randall was good for stretches in the playoffs, and then he was really bad for stretches in the playoffs. And that's kind of the Julius Randle experience. You kind of like would rather trade him and keep Reid and Walker, in my opinion. But then that really leaves you without a second option because for as bad as Randle was throughout stretches, he was also like you needed him to win the series you did this year. They're just in a weird spot where they don't really have a second option to Anthony Edwards because their second option is a non-factor on offense named Rudy Gobert.
Well, it just sucks because this is back-to-back years now. Minnesota's made the conference finals with a coin flip guy as their second option. Like, Cat is a bona fide coin flip guy. In this playoff run with the Knicks, he had moments where you could not believe how good he was. He has that close, I think it was game 4 against the Pistons, where he made like 4 or 5 straight shots at the end of the game to help ice it for New York. He had great stretches in the Boston series where he was scoring 8-10 points in a row in the second half. Did the same thing in the conference finals, even though it didn't go as well for them. Then there are the games, like I think game 1 against the Celtics, he had like 5 fouls, wasn't effective at all, only had like 10 points. Randall's the same type of thing, except he's just going out there and spinning around and losing the ball out of bounds and getting visibly frustrated. Good luck to him. Is the Randall contract expiring this year? Or they extended him?
Julius Randle, let me look. Julius Randle makes $30.9 million next year, but it's a player option, which I assume he'll pick up.
He'll pick up. Okay. Because I know that was the whole point of the Cat trade, was that they didn't want to be attached to Cat's long extension, which the Knicks now have to deal with. Randall is not the answer to that. If you can keep him for probably around what they pay him now, I think you can justify it. Like,
I don't
anything for $30 million for half of a max slot. That's what it is now.
I would rather spend my money elsewhere to get more consistent players. I would rather trade that and keep Reid and Walker.
Okay, that's fair.
But I don't know. I get it. But
I mean, Naz Reid has been incredible for them. There's no getting around it. They love him.
I just think you have such little wiggle room to work with when Rudy Gobert is making $50 million. Like that is just the reality of it.
That is
like
tough.
You don't have the wiggle room to like, oh, $30 million is a good deal for a guy who is inconsistent when Rudy Gobert it's not 50. I lied. He makes 35, 36.5, and 38. So it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was. But still, when you have a guy like that making that much money who is a complete non-factor on offense, it is really hard to build out a team. So that's what I'll say. Like Rudy Gobert has averaged 14 and then 12 points for them. He gave them 8 points. He's 7.9 points per game in the playoffs this year. Making 38 million. Like that's hard. That's hard.
That
that's
closeout
really
game against the Lakers, he turned into
he
Wilt.
He averaged 7.9 points with a 30-point game.
Yes.
That's tough. He was
he's on that contract for like 3 more years too. Oh, poor Minnesota. Credit to them, they've done it. If you told anyone when that Gobert trade happened after the first season that they would be back-to-back conference finalists in this Western Conference, you'd be hats off. Credit to them.
Who would have thought the Gobert trade would be better than the Sabonis Halliburton trade?
Well, what did they send out in the Gobert trade?
A lot, but they made 2 conference finals. Kings have made 1 playoff appearance and then bounced.
Well, I don't think any of us thought the Kings trade was good when it happened. For the Kings.
I thought it was significantly better than the Gobert trade. I thought it was closer to even than anything. But clearly,
I'm trying to think back like how I initially reacted to both. I'm sure the first round picks involved in the Rudy trade didn't make it any easier to swallow. But I feel like we all knew.
Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Leandro Balmero, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, 2023 first, 2025 first, 2027 first, 2029 first, 2026 pick swap.
Yeah.
4 firsts and a pick swap for Rudy Gobert. And Malik Beasley and Walker Kessler and Jared Vanderbilt.
Kessler's turned out to be essentially fucking Rudy. Could have just fucking kept him, been fine.
Yeah. But they made 2 conference finals.
Maybe the Gobert trade is still bad. But
my point is, like,
in retrospect, it's still a bad trade. That is why you come to the How About Them Celtics podcast, where we can sit back and analyze the Wolves making back-to-back conference finals, and then conclude that maybe they still made the wrong trade because they might have been able to do it anyway without spending the money they've spent on Gobert and losing all the draft picks if they just kept Walker Kessler around. So, what a time.
A mess. I think that's about it. Go to
Magic jerseys, new logo.
Oh yeah, we forgot to put that on the sheet. The Magic have new jerseys. I can pull it up in a sec. Let me see. Magic. I'm just typing in here. Great, phenomenal jerseys. Good job, Orlando. That's what I'll say.
I think they
design, new logo, new court, new everything.
Did the court come out?
Yeah. I'll pull it up.
Okay, I haven't seen the court. I've seen everything else. The jerseys, they tried. They did. They get like a B plus on the jerseys because the font is weird. Like the jersey font is really weird, and it kind of misses. I was initially all in on the jerseys when I saw them, and then people started talking about the font, and it's kind of like stuck with me. It's like when like somebody mentions like a sound that's like in the background of something, and then you can't stop hearing it. That's how I feel about the font. Like the font looks kind of cheap. I think the alternate jersey or like the statement, whatever it is, looks stupid with the blue shoulders.
I mean, it's just like a remake of like a retro thing they had.
And I do not care for the logo. The logo I think looks kind of silly, but I like the pinstripe jerseys. I do like it.
I think it's all sick.
Okay.
This is the court, by the way.
Oh, nice. I like the court.
Yeah, court's cool.
Maybe the logo's not as bad as I thought.
I like the logo a lot. I think it's simple. I think it's dope. I'm a fan. And then these are the jerseys. Jerseys are fire. I like it a lot. What's wrong with the font?
It kind of stinks.
What?
The home I'll say this, the home jerseys are good. The blue ones, the font doesn't work with Orlando to me. Like I think it needs to be like more script like. Go to Worldwide Wob's Twitter. He explains it really well. He pulls up like a post of like the new remake of the old Jazz jerseys where the font and the alignment is almost identical to the old ones. And this one, it just isn't. It misses on the font. I swear it does. I don't know anything about graphic design. I'm
This
just
is how we
telling
learn
you.
how important font is. That Utah is not only spot on, but it's also an angle of its placement. Orlando nails the classic color pinstripes, but the word art print screams front page of Temu. What I'll say is, and I don't mean this to be at you because I know you're agreeing, people are just gonna find shit to complain about. Like,
Sure.
people are just gonna find shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, be fucking serious. Come on, guys. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. People are just gonna find shit to be upset about. It looks fine. What are we doing?
I actually don't think there's anything wrong with like if they just literally rolled out the same design as the jerseys from 30 years ago.
So this is his point. It is not like, hold up, I'm pulling it up. This is his point. He's like, this is the old jerseys and these are the new jerseys. Like, he wishes they had this like thing instead of like the block letters. Sure, like, would that look cool? Yeah, but like, I think it's fine. I think it looks fine. Like, but we are so desperate for it needs to be exactly like before. It needs to be like, fuck, they're so fucking. It's fine. It looks fine. They look cool. It like. I just think this is just the epitome of people.
I can't unsee it now.
About. Okay.
Somebody pointed out like just like the cricket in the background of the CBS broadcast, and now I can't unhear it. You know that's a real thing, right?
No, I don't.
So like I guess like the NFL on CBS, like when they go to break or they cut back to like the live play, they subliminally play cricket noises in the background and it gets people's attention. Oh. That is this to me where I didn't realize it was a problem until someone told me, and I was like, oh man, now it looks like they did like get these from China. Like it looks like when you buy the Chinese fake jersey a little bit. I'm sure they're gonna look fine, and I think they made a good decision to at least attempt to bring back that design, but it is imperfect, and that is okay. It is okay for it to be imperfect.
I fucking hate people, man. Ratless. We're going to the Ratless. Ratless people. Ratless the people's ability to be happy with anything. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. Everyone's insufferable, man. Just Jesus, shut the fuck up. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I can't do it. Have you if you go to my Twitter, you'll notice that I don't tweet anymore. I don't go on Twitter. It's not work. I don't fucking like it. It's not fun. It is just a bunch of people bitching and moaning about everything, and I think that is the worst way to live. It's you shut the fuck up. I think it sucks.
There's actually nothing better than going on Twitter.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It makes me angry, and I don't like to be angry, so I just don't go on it. I just don't go on Twitter.
What are you getting angry for? I don't get it.
People just like to get mad at nothing, and I think it's stupid, and so I just don't go on it. I think it's the dumbest shit ever. I think people getting mad at useless shit is like the most like there's no need. Like, what people just get mad. People just like spew hate and get angry, and I think it's stupid, and so I don't go on Twitter. It sucks.
Oh man, I'm gonna ratless my AirPods. For those watching on YouTube, I have these big fucking Xbox headphones on today because I sat down this morning and I put my AirPods in, and they didn't do the thing that they do when you put them in and you can kind of tell that they're in, where like it kind of does the noise cancel thing. And I said, oh boy. And then I looked on my phone where it tells me the charge, and they had no charge. The case was dead. AirPods need a better way of telling you when the case is dead. Because there's so many times I just get got, and I'm like, oh shit, now I don't have headphones. Like, double ratless, my back's bothering me today, so I don't think I'm going to go to the gym. But if I was going to get up and we weren't doing the podcast at 10 a.m. today, I would have went to the gym first thing, got all the way to the gym, and been fucking rattled that I went there and my headphones were dead. Thankfully, I can just plug these into the computer and it works the same, but sucks. AirPods, figure out how to tell me that you're dead. Give me like a push notification on my phone that's like AirPods low or something like that.
Yeah, I think that notification would be good. Also, why don't you just plug them in every night?
That is a good point. It's just not in the routine.
Do you plug your phone in every night?
Yes, but so I only have one like thing where I sleep.
Oh, here, I have something then. One sec. Check private chat.
Are you going to send me a link to like a multi-port thing?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Amazon.com.
The fuck, dude, I only have one. You can.
What am I, made of money? Money bags?
What, $10 for a charger? What the fuck? Buy a fucking charger. Charge your AirPods there.
Oh, man. I'm not made of money.
Uh,
I do love the arc of being unemployed where I can just say no to spending money. It's like, what am I made of money? We're going out to eat.
You don't have a second charger anywhere else.
No, I do. I have one right here at my desk, and I should plug them in at this charger every night before I go to bed, but I'm not in the habit of doing so. I have multiple chargers. I just have this charger at my bed where that is like one for my phone.
Try it tonight, change your life.
Sometimes I do it, and I don't run into this problem often because I do it often enough to where I avoid it. But
sure. No, I got you. Let's see. I don't know what I want to rat list today. I don't know. The Red Sox. Rat list the Red Sox. That's what it was.
They keep losing by 1 run.
Oh my God. I think Danny did the math yesterday. I think they're 3-17 or 3-14 in 1-run games this year.
I saw online last night 17 is the number. 17 1-run losses.
That's embarrassing, man. Last night they were tied, right, going into the bottom of the ninth. They got bases loaded, or second and third or something. They had like multiple runners on with like 1 out or something, and they didn't get a run. And then open of the extra innings, right? You start with a runner on second base. They bunt to move the runner over to third. The Angels do, and the Celtics.
The Red Sox, not the Celtics.
Sorry,
give the Celtics a break.
The Red Sox just don't pick up the ball. Like the pitcher like fumbles the ball and doesn't like throw it to first, and so they just get a free base runner and move the runner over. So like they fail that, and then he walks a guy. And this pitcher was just called up from Worcester 2 days ago, and we're throwing him into the fucking 10th inning of a one. What are we doing, guys? Oh my God, it's embarrassing. Then they have Roman Anthony just in AAA that they're not calling up, who's like a monster.
We need to do
Really sad.
We need to do episodes this summer every once in a while where like half the episode is just the Red Sox.
I don't know,
and we'll get Red Sox. We'll get Red Sox guests, and you can commiserate.
I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can mentally handle talking about the Red Sox for hours.
Can you imagine being a Red Sox beat reporter?
No.
162 games?
No, I can't. That sounds fucking terrible.
Like it's like more exhausting probably for me, but it's still like it doesn't take you 2 minutes to get to the Garden. It takes you a while too. Like, can you imagine if you had to like go cover a game every single day, or if you traveled with the team, go on the road trips? It would be terrible.
Yeah, that's a slog. That's a lot.
You know how much you would have to love baseball?
A lot.
You would have to love baseball to do that job.
And I don't. I like baseball, but that's it.
So Rat List is all this Belichick stuff. I know you haven't been on Twitter that much, but you're aware of the Belichick stuff, right? No? Not at all.
It was just the stuff with his girlfriend from
yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I know all of that. That's old, though. No? Is there new stuff?
No, this is the same stuff. The girlfriend thing has been going on for like 2 months now.
Sure. I haven't heard anything about it in a while, though.
Well, the most recent thing, and you'll not care about this in the slightest, is I guess that the guy Pablo Torre has been doing like deep dives into this, and Bill Simmons like went after him. So Bill Simmons had Torre on the podcast to talk about Belichick, which I have not listened to yet, but I do. I got nothing else going on, so I'm gonna listen. And I'm really sick of hearing about Belichick. I don't care. So all of our listeners got to hear me talk about Belichick because I don't care so much.
I always laugh at the classic Sam Ratliff where this national podcast is talking about something that's not the very niche thing that I enjoy. Fuck.
Well, no. The reason why I actually had been meaning to put this on here for months because it's not. I would say the NBA playoffs are not a niche thing. Like it is inappropriate to be prioritizing fucking Belichick and this fucking girlfriend over the NBA playoffs. If you're a sports, agree or disagree?
By and large, agree. And for what it's worth, I also think the Belichick stuff is stupid. Like, just to be clear, I'm just like half joking. I do understand why Bill Simmons, a New England-based guy, is going to talk about it, though. Like,
Simmons is not the culprit of this. Like, he is just the latest example. The Simmons stuff is actually kind of funny because it was like stupid beef that came from this.
Yeah, no. I think it's wholly stupid that this is a news cycle thing. Like, I think it's dumb. I get why it is, because it's like weird. Like, it's fucking weird. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's fucking weird. Do you see the interview with CBS where she was like, "No, we're not talking about." Like, it was weird. It was weird, but I also think it's dumb.
So I have, you know how you can have like tweet notifications on for people?
Yeah.
A lot of people have it for Shams. We are in the probably conglomerate of like 500 people that have it on for Chris Haynes. I have them on every time Big Cat does a live stream. And the other day, it doesn't happen often because I actually forgot that I had them on. The other day, a live stream pops up in my notifications that says hot dog in the ceiling, or trying to get a hot dog down from the ceiling. So you bet your ass I spent a half hour watching every person in the Barstool office try and get a hot dog down from their gym ceiling. And it was a fantastic watch. The highlight was when they finally knocked it off of the vent. They had this guy Max ready to catch it in a hot dog bun, and he caught it in the hot dog bun and then ate the hot dog.
That's disgusting. That's gross. I don't really have a rat list. I have an anti-rat list though. I started watching last night. It's called Warehouse Games. I don't think you're familiar. I probably talked about it last year. Do you know what?
I don't know if you talked about this. Go ahead.
I definitely did. It was the We Got Ice guy that our friend.
Okay. Yes.
It's like
yes.
them. They play like it's called Ball and Play. It's like half cricket, half baseball. Like just fuck around and make up rules. So I started watching that. So shout out Zoe. I don't know if he listens this deep at the show, but I started watching. It's a good time.
I think if though. I said this to Jake on the playback like last week. I think when sports are so similar, like baseball and cricket, they need to just become one thing, so everyone around the world can play the game. Like how basketball, agree or disagree, basketball has become better since it became more global and more international players started playing at a high level.
Well, yes.
Right? So let's say whatever the baseball cricket hybrid was, or if they elected to go with one over the other, that would be good for the game. Yes.
I suppose.
Okay. Final ratless piece. I finished the rehearsal. Yes, I finished the rehearsal. Funniest thing in the entire season of the rehearsal is when Nathan decides that he wants to live Captain Sully's entire life and dresses up as an infant baby and has a gigantic set built so he is the size of an infant baby. He learns to fly. Okay,
spoilers alert for anyone who has not watched the rehearsal with Nathan Fielder. We're going to talk about it, and there will be spoilers if you haven't watched. How the fuck did they let that guy fly a plane?
Well, he did the training.
No, he didn't do the training. He, by his own admission, did the training worse than any human in the history of flying planes. He spent, I think, what was it, like triple or quadruple the time it normally takes somebody to put the training. There should be a boundary to where now you're taking too long. You cannot fly a fucking airplane anymore.
That's actually a very good point. I actually think flying in the plane is actually one of the things where you shouldn't get an infinite amount of redos. Yeah. I think they should cut you off after a while.
That's what I'm saying. So
also, by the way, the thing that moved the needle for Nathan being so if you haven't seen it, well, actually, if you're at this point, you either haven't seen it and don't care to see it, or you've seen it. Nathan, the big drawback to him being able to fly the plane is he struggled to land the plane. He was very bad at landing the plane. And so the thing that he was instructed to do to help him become better at landing the plane is to sit in his house, close his eyes, and play pretend that he was doing a good job of landing the plane. That was the solution that they gave him. And it worked, I guess. He eventually got better at it. But what a hilarious thing.
Nathan Fielder, so he learned to fly a plane for this show, and verbatim in the show said, they told me that no one had ever taken this long to pass the requirements to fly a plane. And all I'm saying is, there should be like you should get like 2 tries to pass the test, and once you fail, sorry, you don't get to be a pilot anymore, bro. You don't get to do it. And he took him like 2 years.
He is the pilot's equivalent of SpongeBob trying to get his driver's license.
Yes. Like SpongeBob should just not be allowed to drive a boat. Like not allowed. Sorry, you failed, bro.
Okay, do you think he did or didn't fly a full plane? Or do you think the part with the passengers was not
I think
part
he did
of the actual thing?
No, I think he flew a full plane. For sure.
I don't know what I think.
Why? My thing is, why would he do everything else in the show and then fake that?
Well, because he didn't want to risk 150 different lives flying the plane.
No, I think he did. I think in his weird twisted mind, he's like, I needed that pressure to make it like a real simulation. Like, I think he really fucking did it. Like, everything else that he's ever done throughout the show tells you that he did it. And also, like,
I can be convinced either way.
I think he did it. I think he did.
I would like to choose to believe he did it.
I think he did it.
I think it makes it way funnier.
I think he for sure did it.
How about him having the second plane fly super close so they could get shots of the plane?
Oh, I was losing my mind. I was like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my god, that was ridiculous. Oh my god, like
in the summer, we should have a book club-esque segment of this show where we watch television shows and talk about them.
Also, what was it? The part where he had like the fucking actors just making out in front of their actual significant others.
That was wild. He just brought the significant others in. So for context, there's a segment of the show. Nathan associates himself with several, like probably 100 pilots, so he can use them as like data collecting points and stuff. And one of the pilots is very awkward. He's trying to set up the pilot with one of the actresses that he has hired to participate in several parts of this show. Which,
by the way, is so inappropriate.
Well, I think he did it in a way that wasn't weird. He was like, "You guys don't have to do this at all. Like, if you're interested in him, you're interested in him."
Hey, anyone fuck this guy? What the hell?
And the guy is so hesitant to kiss the girl he's been going on dates with now. So Nathan commissioned several of the other actors to play out what their potential relationship would be. You cannot explain this show to anybody if they haven't seen it. I was trying to explain it to my girlfriend last night. She was not grasping it. She was like, so what evidence does he have through doing all of this that these pilot trends are dangerous? And I was like, you just got to watch it.
Yeah, just go watch the show. I can't explain it. Just go watch the show. You got anything else you want to wrap there?
I really want you to watch Nathan For You.
Okay, I'll put on the docket. I'm sure I'll watch. All right,
but that is it.
I'll go on. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of the rehearsal season 2. You can subscribe to the channel. We're here every single day with new content, full pods like this one dropping Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game, and other videos are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find the two of us on Spotify and Apple as well. All pods and game recaps are up there. So if you just want those, follow. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. Would appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading them every single podcast. Big thank you to everybody who sent in the emails today, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You know what? If you have show recommendations you would want to see us do a book club version of, go ahead and send them in, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at JacksOneNBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.